Hi guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making some beautiful Valentine decor. We're going to start with this foam form from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to be wrapping it in some fabric to start out with. Now I buy these tea towels and I think they come in packs of 3 at the Dollar General, and I think at Walmart you can buy them in larger packs, but they're very inexpensive, and they come in white, but you can coffee stain them, which I've done with this. You just take some strong coffee and dip these in and wring them out, and then just let them dry naturally. And then you just cut this and rip it in strips. Now I did cut the hem off all the way around, and I don't throw that away because I use that for other things, but I won't be using the hem on this one to wrap this with. So you just start with a dab of hot glue, and then you're just going to wrap that strip around until you run out of that strip, and then just a dab of hot glue to secure that end, and then repeat the process with each strip until you get this wrapped well. Now with this step you can use just about any fabric that you want. Most fabrics will rip, but you can cut strips of fabrics also, and then just give this a different look with different patterns or whatever you choose here. And you wouldn't have to have this foam form if maybe you go and they don't have these, but maybe they have the wire form. It wouldn't have this full look like this, but it would be more flat. But I've also wrapped those, and those look really pretty as well. But just any heart that you can find that you can wrap like this. I know that they do have some of the smaller ones sometimes, but I like this size. This is such a quick and easy little craft to do. And you can, if you do this neutral base like I'm doing here, then you can dress it up in different ways. You can make your other embellishments removable and change it up, but I'll be hot gluing mine on. And if you're not like me and you don't do a lot of neutral, this would be real pretty in red, or a red plaid would be really pretty with this. Now after I get this completely wrapped, then I'm going to take some lace that I also get at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to be wrapping it with some space in between, almost like a stripe, but it'll have a little slant to it, just to kind of dress this up a little bit more. And then I'll just take that all the way around and secure it at the end. This is one of those projects that doesn't take a whole lot of hot glue because you only have to start and stop with the hot glue. So once we get that wrapped all the way around and secure that and cut it off, then we're ready for the next step. So now I'm going to add a little shabby bow, and I'm going to show you how I make my shabby bows. And the great thing about these is you can use any kind of fabric you want, and you can mix up the colors and patterns and textures, and these shabby bows are just really simple to make. Now you're going to cut little strips of each of these fabrics. Now this one is just an old sheer that I've ripped up, and I'm cutting maybe about 5 inches long, somewhere around in that it doesn't have to be exact. It just depends on how big you want your bow. Now I'm taking some of those strips of the tea towel here and adding that, and different types of lace, and just different, any kind of fabric. Now here I've cut a longer piece because that's what I'm going to tie around these when I get them done, and then I can just cut off anything that's excess after I get it tied on. Now here I'm just kind of mixing these fabrics up and just kind of laying them kind of in a crisscross pattern, just as many as you want. These bows look really good if you use a lot and make them really full. And now I'm just going to tie that long piece around and tie that in a tight double knot, and then just cut that piece off the length of the others and just fluff this bow up, and it makes a really neat looking shabby bow. If you know nothing at all about how to make a bow, you can make this one with no problem at all. So once I get that trimmed up where I don't have those long pieces hanging down, then I'm just going to hot glue this to one side of the top to embellish this little heart. And I love these little cheap glue guns because they don't get as hot as my larger ones, and I never burn myself with these little hot glue guns, so I tend to use them. I have one of the Ryobi glue guns, but I very rarely use it because I just hate to burn myself. And like I said, I haven't burned myself in over a year, I guess, because I just most of the time will use these small low temp guns. So here I've just cut a little loop from one of these pieces of fabric, and I'm going to glue that little loop on so that if I decide to hang this up, it'll have a good little hanger. And that's all there is to this craft, and this little heart will be complete. I'm just tapping that on to hold it on good, and there is our first heart. Now we have one more heart to make, and this one is going to be it look like it's covered with roses, and it's very, very simple. It may take a little bit longer to make, but there's nothing at all hard about this one either. And it looks even more impressive when you get it done. Now, I use coffee filters, and you can use any color that you want. You can use just regular white coffee filters, or you could use the tan ones, or in this case, I'm going to be using some coffee filters that I dipped in some water with a little bit of paint in it, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be an even color, and actually the more uneven the better. So I just take some water in a bowl and add some pink paint to it, and then I just dip that, just like if I were coffee staining it. I just dip my coffee filters in there and wring them out and let them dry. And then as you can see, you get some of them are real light, some of them are real dark, and that's what makes these roses look more realistic. So here I'm just taking a couple coffee filters and just watch how I just kind of push in that middle and crumple the edge up around, and it just makes a simple, quick little flower. Now, because I'm doing this one for myself, I'm not gluing those two coffee filters together, but the best thing to do here would be to put one coffee filter down, put a little dot of glue in the middle, and then crumple it up like that. And the reason I say that is because if I weren't going to bunch this up a lot, then I may lose a coffee filter here and there that's kind of came up out of the rows because of those two coffee filters not being glued together. But like I said, I'm just going to be using this one myself. I probably should have showed you how I would do it if I were selling it, but I just put these 2 coffee filters together, and like I said, just put your little dot of glue in the center, and then put 1 coffee filter on top of the other, and then just crumple it up like I'm doing here. These have been made ahead of time, and I keep me a tote of these already stained, and so they're a lot easier for me to just kind of pull out of my tote, and I do undo each one so that I can fluff them up. But as you can see here, it's so simple to just take these coffee filters and you really don't even have to use 2 coffee filters. That's just something I do to make them even fluffier. But you could just use 1 here and just put more on it. I haven't tried that, but I'm sure it would work just as well. It's just something, this is the way I started doing it a long time ago, and I just always have. But you just take that coffee filter, or 2 if you choose, and just almost like you stick your finger in the center of it, and then you just kind of cup it around your finger, and that's what makes your flower. And especially when you get a lot of these glued on here, they look so much like flowers. And then this is something you could also do on different forms. You could do it on a wire form and just kind of stick them down in that wire form. You would still have to glue them some, but you could definitely do that and just make a flower wreath instead of just a solid heart. Or you could use these for a spring wreath and just just stain them with the paint water, just like I did these, but maybe just use some other spring flowers and do a big wreath out of them. And if you don't have access to any of these things, and you just want to take a big piece of cardboard and cut a heart out of that, then you could glue these to just regular cardboard. Again, this is just a really simple project, and with this one especially, you can make out of just about anything that you want. And most people keep coffee filters, and if you don't keep them, they're very inexpensive to buy. So we're just going to keep adding these coffee filters until this heart is completely covered. This would actually be really pretty to use as wedding decor. Or it would be beautiful to use for a little girl's birthday party, or to dress up a little girl's room. I really appreciate all you guys who have subscribed and are commenting and sharing. All this is helping my channel to grow, and I appreciate it so much. And I hope some of you will do these hearts and let me know how they go. That's actually why I started this channel, because a lot of times I love to share with my customers how I make things when they buy them. It's just, I really love to inspire other people to do crafts. And again, this one is just really simple. It took a little bit more time to cover that, but even though I sped this up, it really hasn't taken very long at all. Then we'll add just a couple little more touches to it, and it'll be finished. I think that if you do one of these, you'll be really impressed at how well it looks, how much it looks like actual roses. And now just a couple more steps, and we'll have this one finished also. So I'm just taking some of that hem here that I cut out from around the tea towel, and I'm gluing it right where the holes were for the original hanger that was on here, and just kind of creating a little hanger. Now, how long you leave this is totally up to you, whether or not you want it to show. and maybe put a bow at the top of it, hanging down over the heart, or like I have, just where it barely shows. So that's totally up to you, but that makes a very easy hanger for it. And now we're going to make a little sash to go over it, I guess you would call it, or banner. And all I'm going to do is take some pink paint to match the darker part of these flowers and just put XOXO. And I'm just doing that because that's a very easy one to freehand. I started to use stencils on this, but when I can freehand something, then I do that because I know that not everyone has a collection of stencils. So when I can make something that doesn't involve something like that, I would rather do that so that everyone can make it without having to invest in the extra craft supplies. And I know that all of you can paint XOXO. And then I didn't mention that this fabric is just some muslin. Is all that is that I've ripped into about a 4-inch strip. And then now all I have to do is let this dry, and then we're going to wrap it around the heart. And you can do that straight across. You can do it at an angle like I'm going to be doing. I happen to like it at an angle. But we don't have to glue this on or anything. All we have to do is just tie a knot in the back, and that's all there is to it. I feel like this heart is really impressive looking when you get it finished, and then only you'll know how easy that this was to make. Let me know in the comments which of these hearts you guys like the best. I think for me, it was this one, I think. I do like the neutral colors of the other one, but I really do like this heart. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great evening. God bless you.